Hi, beautiful friends. This is the energy report for the week of Friday, July 8th, William's first birthday, to Thursday, July 14th. Happy first birthday, William. Oh my God, I love him so much. Okay. The theme for this week, the energetic theme for this week is a very emotional one. All the cards that were drawn were of the suit of cups, which is the suit of emotions, psychic abilities. It's a very heart-based and astral-based realm, or astral's not really right, but the ethers, like the psychic stuff. So the first card, again, is the Knight of Cups. This was our first card for last week. And the message that I'm getting for this week is a little bit different, though. It's like acknowledging that we are in a level of mastery around our emotions and our ability to perceive the external world and hold a frequency of grace and love and compassion without feeling the need to save anybody or fix anything. And as we are in this mastery, we also leave behind any feelings of like, I'm not doing enough, I need to do more. It's like we've really shifted into the understanding of the freaking power of our beingness, the realization that we are doing so much by the cultivation of our being in that state of like liquid, fluid grace and love and compassion and truth. And as we move through the world, I'm seeing again like the gracefulness of a dancer. I'm seeing somebody moving through life in this beautiful soul dance that is impervious to the external world, and yet is not isolated from the external world. But I'm kind of seeing somebody moving through the world in this dance, and as like external input comes into their field, they just dance with it. Like they don't lose their footing. They don't stumble. It's like they can incorporate all that is happening in the outside world into the dance. So an example that I think we can all relate to is like being in traffic and having somebody, just whatever, absentmindedly or maybe from a place of like assholiness, cut you off. They decide to like make a right turn and you're passing through an intersection. They're at a red light, you're at a green light, you have the right of way, and they decide to like make a right turn and it kind of cuts you off. And your initial reaction is one of being like, dick, you're like offended. But this person that I'm seeing in this like Knight of Cups state of grace, this dance, everything that they are doing in life is this beautiful dance. It's like they can take that car, that driver on an energetic consciousness level and invite it into their dance and just dance with it for a minute and be like, I don't know, it's like a magic cleansing of the energy, like dissipate the other person's anxiety or intensity and chaos, but without doing it for the purposes of fixing that person or improving that person. They're doing it from a state of like, I'm so in my dance, I'm so in my grace, that if you want to come interact with me, no matter who you are, no matter what you are, you become part of my dance. I'm in the dance. And as we do that, as we move into this state of mastery where we are like, I'm also getting this image of like a maypole. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Some of you will. Some of you are like, what? Maypole. It's like an old thing that people used to do at Beltane, which is May 1st. Like in, whatever, in Europe, in the British Isles, they had these poles and they had like colorful ribbon tied around the pole, and all the maidens, all the young girls would grab a piece of ribbon and then they would do this like dance together and weave in and out of each other. And as they did that, they would like kind of like, in a way, like braid the ribbons in this pattern around the pole. And I'm getting that too. It's like, that's what we're doing. We're taking these discordant, chaotic threads of reality as we're in this state of grace, and we cultivate this state of grace within ourselves. We take these discordant, chaotic threads of reality, we grab them and we interweave with each other. All of us who are at this level of consciousness, we interweave with each other, and in doing so, we reweave these discordant threads into a beautiful pattern, into a beautiful geometry. We are recoding the simulation from the inside out, and it's so beautiful. And then the next card is the Nine of Cups, which is traditionally, or I mean, I say traditionally, but like traditionally I interpret this as like a wish fulfillment card. It's like, but it's not necessarily the material manifestation. That's not the focus. That would be like the Nine of Pentacles. What I'm seeing is like the like your heart's dream come true. It's like, everything is so beautiful. Like it's remembering, as I said last week, that our manifestations are all about how we desire to feel. You know, like if you, and I mean, I'm sure everybody has examples of this. Let's just take the example of like buying a car. Let's say that you think you want a car and you want a certain kind of car because you think that you're going to feel like such a badass driving this car. And you buy the car, but it turns out that it's just a car and it can't bring you that feeling. You have to like tap into that feeling on your own. And it turns out maybe that something else inspires that feeling in you, something you never would have imagined. Because our manifestations, like the reason, you know, Abraham Hicks says this, and I agree 100%, the reason we want to have anything, the reason we think we want anything to physically manifest in our lives is because we think we'll feel better for having it. So when we do that, when we acknowledge that, we also acknowledge that like the feeling aspect is the most important thing. And so the wish fulfillment card, the wish fulfillment of the Nine of Cups is like, it's like having that feeling now. And I don't mean having the feeling in the absence of what you desire. For example, I live in a house that I've always wanted to live in. So I have always, when I was a little girl, if people asked me what I wanted to be when I was about 4 years old, I would answer, I want to be a farmer's wife. That was my serious answer. I want to be a farmer's wife. I wanted to live on a farm. I wanted my husband to be out doing the farming things. I wanted to live in a farmhouse, make good food for my family. I wanted to take care of all the baby animals. That was what I thought my job would be, and take care of the gardens. And I wanted to have a bunch of kids. That's because I had a really beautiful past life as a farmer's wife, which I found out later in a QHHT session. So I now live in a farmhouse overlooking the water. I have rabbits. I take care of the rabbits. We have a garden. My husband is not technically a farmer. Technically, he is a massage therapist, but he, you know, goes out and does the farming things. We have a little family. I make food for us. And so the material things in my life have created this wish fulfillment. But the important thing that I want to emphasize is that it's all about the wish fulfillment. It's like about the joy I have in my heart, the happiness I have in my heart. So when I was tuning into the Nine of Cups, I was like, well, what does this mean for the collective in this particular reading? And what I was getting is like the invitation and the reminder that, how do I put it? I just hate using overused terms. So like even the word manifestation, there's not a better word, but it feels like very overused to me. But I'm just going to say we are master manifestors. I'm talking to you at the level of consciousness that I know that you have. You are a master manifester, okay? Even if you don't remember that you are, you are. And what we are creating is, it requires it. This is a follow on to that Knight of Cups card, and being in that state of grace and being in the dance of life, like in the dance, the most beautiful dance. You are a dancer. You are the most graceful, beautiful dancer there ever was, and you dance with all of the stimulus of life, and you turn it into, even if it's ugly shit, you turn it into the most beautiful dance. You alchemize it through the graceful dance of your being. And as you do that, you extricate yourself from the chaos of the external narratives. And you bring yourself into a space of being so sovereign in your energy that you are no longer responding to outside cues that are being fed to us. So what I understand is that the I don't know, whatever, the archons, let's just use that word. The archons feed us propaganda and predictive programming through the various forms of media, fictional media, entertainment media, social media, news media, even alternative news media. The archons are seeding our consciousness with the things that they want us to react to, so that we will then unconsciously manifest that on their behalf. So that, because they can't manifest, it's a whole other topic, they can't manifest, so they use us. That's how we are their livestock. They feed off of our louche energy, our like negative emotional charge energy, and they also harness it to power their manifestations. That's why they have big rituals such as the Super Bowl, the Grammys, any sports games, like a lot of big, like concerts and things like that. And I'm not saying you should never go to those. I'm not saying they're all nefarious. It's just like, just be aware of your energy and the way that energy is harnessed and used by the powerful beings that put those together. So when we're in the state of grace of the Knight of Cups, we extricate ourselves from like that matrix, that false matrix, and we come into our sovereignty. We come back into our own field. We are each surrounded by a toroidal field, an energetic, personal, electromagnetic field that is connected to the 0 point field of all creation. And when we are in that sovereignty, in that beautiful grace, we manifest very powerfully. Like this is where the archetypes of like the sorceress, the wizard, the warlock, the witch, the priestess, like those kind of archetypes, they come in, the magician, they come in when somebody is in that sovereignty, because that person knows that they have their own personal field, and all they have to do is code their own field. They don't need to never mind the rest of the collective field and the collective narrative. That is none of our business. It's not important. We don't have to react to any of it. We just invite it into the dance and we stay in our grace. And when we are in this field, and we are supercharging it with the energy of the 9 of Cups. It's like you talk to your own field and you program your own field. You're not programming the universal field or the collective human field. You are programming your unique field. And the message that's coming through is like, what is the wish in your heart? What is your heart's desire? And I'm taking this medicine on too, because I'm kind of in a crunchy place. I'm not going to lie. I'm just in a very human place of feeling kind of triggery and crunchy about certain, just certain things. I'm a human too. So it's like the reminder, like speak to your own field and and program and code your field with what your heart wishes for, what your heart desires. And it's being in that pure state of like your heart's purest desire, and like holding that and knowing that as you encode your field with that, your personal field, it then has to manifest. And then the next card is the Four of Cups. Again, so we saw the Knight of Cups last week at the beginning of the reading, and we saw the Four of Cups last week. And but this time, the message of the Four of Cups is a little bit different. The message that's coming through is like, and then just chill out and don't throw a hissy fit because it's not coming in right away. Remember that, like, there's always a lag in manifestation. There's always a lag in physical manifestation, but there's not a lag in emotional manifestation. So if you understand that manifestation, it is fed off of your feelings, like your feelings, not your visualization, not your thoughts. I know people say thoughts create reality, and that's kind of true, but it's more complicated than that. It's like, if you think beautiful thoughts about your life, about your reality, about what you want to create, but those beautiful thoughts trigger emotions of like, but I don't have it yet, and like, when, and whatever, which, I mean, honestly, this is such medicine for me, because that's exactly why I'm crunchy right now, because I'm just going through that human phase of being like, it's not here yet. Nah. So I'm not judging anyone. It's just that I know how this all works, and the cards are reminding me that I know how this all works. So if you think beautiful thoughts, but they trigger negative emotions, you will manifest according to those emotions. Okay? So, and I mean, obviously, if you think ugly thoughts, you're probably going to have ugly emotions. It's very unlikely that you will think ugly thoughts and have beautiful emotions. Maybe it happens, I don't know, but it doesn't really, I don't think it does happen that way. So first, think beautiful thoughts, but then, like, it's really important that you hold these emotions in your body. Like people say, feel it as if it's already done. And that can be really hard. That's why I'm bitchy right now, because it's hard to do sometimes. But that is what is necessary. I mean, that's why I'm experiencing such a lag in my manifestation, because I'm not taking the time to feel it as already done. So you program your field with beautiful emotions. You think the thoughts about what you want to have, and then you feel beautiful things about it. And one of the things that makes it hard to think of it in terms of already being done, or feel it as if it's already being done, is that if you're in a certain place, all that does is activate your awareness that it's actually not already done, right? And then you get crusty like I am. So a way to bypass that is to, actually, this is the only way it's ever worked for me. A way to bypass that is to cultivate your personal internal fantasy and like hang out there for, 5 minutes. So, and that's how you program your field, is you think the beautiful thoughts about what you want to create. So, like, let's just take my example. I wanted to be a farmer's wife. I wanted to live in a beautiful old farmhouse, just somewhere beautiful that I just love it. And I didn't really have the specifics. I didn't have it specifically overlooking water. I just knew I wanted to live in the country. I wanted to live in a farmhouse. And there was a big lag for me on this one, but it's here now. So, but while I was manifesting it, it's like, just taking that as an example, I want to be a farmer's wife. I want to have bunnies. I want to have babies. I want to have vegetables and flowers, and I want to have a beautiful place to be and raise my family. It's not a mansion. It's nothing fancy. It's an old, century-old farmhouse, but it makes me so happy. And before it came, it's like I would often get activated in like, I would think about it and then I would be like, but it's not here yet. And I hate my kitchen and blah, 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 with my previous house. But actually what served me and what ultimately allowed it to manifest was when I just decided like, okay, whatever. I live in this house. I don't like the kitchen. It's not a big deal. What I'm going to do is create a fantasy world where I live in a house that makes me really happy. And I'm going to like go on vacation to my fantasy world for 5 minutes at a time every now and then, like a couple times a day. And so it's like, rather than trying to believe that it's already here, because that's hard to do, it's like accepting that it's not already here, but letting your imaginary experience of it be enough. And like hang out in your imaginary experience of it and let yourself feel so much fulfillment with that. Another example I can use is that I love this house, but I know this isn't our forever house. I really want to live in a town called Port Elgin. I want to live on Lake Huron. I want to be able to see Lake Huron from my bay window, but I want to be nestled in the trees. And I mean, that's nowhere near, I don't have the money for that right now. And I don't know when I'll have the money for that, but I can tap into that and just like be there. And it feels so good. And I'm not activated in the absence of it because I happen to love my current house. So it's easy for me to do that. But I'm not doing it to manifest it. I'm doing it because I just am so excited that like literally the fantasy of it is enough. The fantasy of it is enough. So the way all of these cards work together is like the Knight of Cups is being in your sovereign-centered, like graceful dance with the elements of life. And the Nine of Cups is like tapping into your heart's deepest desires and knowing that that is what you're going to code your field with. This is where your manifestation power is. It's not in response to any of the fear porn narratives. It's in response to like, yeah, but what does your heart want? And the Four of Cups is like avoiding the temptation to look at, like if we're just taking the numbers, it's like the Nine of Cups is 9 cups. There's 9 full cups of brimming, overflowing happiness. In the Four of Cups, it's like there's only 4 cups. And you can feel, as I've been feeling, kind of pissy about it and a little bit like a brat. I've been a brat this week, feeling like, oh, I don't have the thing that I want. But that's not actually going to get you your manifestation. That's going to prolong the lag. So what you want to do instead is like be deeply, deeply thankful for these 4 cups and everything in these cups. Like so, so grateful for the things that you have in your life. And yet, yes, whatever, gratitude practices, I know. But seriously, I promise you, if you go into such deep presence with the good things in your life right now that you're happy about, while also like holding that frequency and going on vacation into your fantasy for like at least 5 minutes, a couple times a day, you will shorten the lag time between your physical manifestation, like your emotional manifestation, your physical manifestation, because you get to have your emotional manifestation right now. And the more that you like anchor into that, the faster your physical manifestation can come in response to that. So this is just all about us coming into mastery. And again, I really want to say, like, I am getting so clear that the people that I'm speaking to these days are like, you are part of an ascended consciousness, like an ascended master consciousness. It's not whatever. You decide if you resonate with that or not, whatever. But I know the ones that I'm here to speak to are part of an ascended master consciousness. And that yet when we come into human form, we do forget, especially now. What I saw when I did the spirit baby channeling is that the babies coming in right now, they're not going to have any such amnesia. They're like, no, you laid the groundwork. There is enough consciousness here that we are just going to remember who we are. But those of us who are already adults, we've had to deal with the amnesia and we are remembering. And it feels to me like this message is just a reminder, like, you know how to do this. You know how to do this. And as you do it, as you create beauty in your field and you manifest in alignment with that beauty, your field overflows with so much bounty, so much, like, you know, when your cup is full, it's so easy to be generous. It's so easy to be loving. It's so easy to see somebody in need and just come in and be like, you know, this like this angel that just comes in and gives them, you know, whatever they need, and at a level that they can hardly even imagine. It's just so easy to be generous when your cup is full. So manifesting for yourself from your heart's desire, not from your mental ideas of what physical things will bring you happiness, but from that space of happiness in your heart, you will have so much to share. We are recoding the simulation from the inside out. And if this message is coming to you and you're in a space where you're like, I don't like anything in my life. My life is absolute shit. Okay, so be it. Then, and if you're in such a low place that you're like, I don't even know what I want to manifest, because I've been there before too, really. So then what you do is you just tap into the feeling of happiness in your heart. And like, so if your fantasy, your vacation fantasy place is like a trip to Hawaii, and you're like, I am literally homeless, living in my car. I don't know what I'm going to eat later today. I'm so hungry. My stomach is full of stomach pangs. Like, I'm not in a place where I can go to Hawaii. Don't worry about actually going to Hawaii. Just pretend you're in Hawaii for 5 minutes. If you can't do it for 5 minutes, because that's how hard shit is, do it for 30 seconds. And then build on it from there. But I promise you, that is the actual way to get the thing that you desire. Okay? I promise you. I've done it so many times. I promise you it works. All right. That is our beautiful energy report for the week. I hope it inspires you all. I'm just going to tune in and see if a light language transmission wants to come through. Ikario sinto atoe I fario tinoa I saloenti iruate a. Inurio sa I siloa fanoati iri bishni kiruati oira. I sinuatin ikario I tiroa ar. Afintio sarawa afananti ir. Itunio I te I sarawa e fan. Okay, my beautiful friends, thank you for listening. I just want to remind you that 12/12 is beginning in 4 days on July 12th. And if you are feeling called to raise your consciousness to this ascended level and embody it, like apply it, make it the central thing in your life, template yourself to be the avatar for the highest consciousness in this world, and do it with others who are also on the same journey, while activating and supercharging your psychic abilities, then send me a message to join. Okay, that's it. I love you all. Catch you on the next episode.